Hello. So this is a short little video that I just want to go over some options of pivoting with some of my more favorite and most played comps this set. I played this a lot even when they were really bad and other things were really good. So this was like early set 9.5, but this video can serve really well now because I think they're a lot stronger, and understanding like seeing the lines of pivoting is really important a lot of these sets. So in this case, this is like your default challenger, which has been the same since the beginning. It might change slightly from the time I released this video because people are flushing it out a little bit. Basically, you have all your synergies in terms of like for challenger, you have two Shurima because you put your Nasus and the Nefari. And then basically you're itemizing Fiora because Fiora is the main carry. She gets the Radiant Demacia item because you have 3 Demacia in. And she gets the Bloodthirster because you wanted to have Sustain. The item that you used to give her a lot, I think it still shows it, was Titans here. I don't prioritize Titans because Titans kills a bow, and a bow is really useful for some other pivots. So usually I build the Titans last because on my roll down, it's harder for me to find a place to put the Titans. It's already hard to find a place for the Bloodthirster, but it's just so important for Fiora. And if you want a tempo early game because you want to be really healthy as well as rich by the time you reach 7, to make sure that if you miss, you have enough time to continue rolling to like actually hit and upgrade your board so you like get your top 4 and get out. Um, and then on Kaisa, you can put like a mana item like Shojin, I think is really good. Usually put like some kind of shred, like Shiv. This isn't going to be going over like the main items. These aren't like BIS items, I'm just using them as an example. Please note that in this. This isn't a full guide on how to play this set. I might do that later. This is just to show you like pivots. So anyways, I try to keep the units in the same spots, but let's say you don't hit Kaisa, you don't hit Fiora right away. Something you can play towards is this version. I put the units in the same spot and I use the same items, but this is a Demacia Shurima build. And basically what you're doing here is you have Azir as your main carry, and Shiv and Jewel Gauntlet work really well on Azir. You can also put mana item on Azir, but a lot of times you're just playing 3 Demacia and you're still playing Fiora in this particular build. So you can put the AD items that you build. If you don't build it Titans, you can slam whatever you have, like even like a Night Harvester or some other shit. You put it on Fiora, you give her the Demacia item, and then you have your front line, same front line, so you know if you hit the Nasus and the Jarvan, you can pivot if you hit Azir instead of Kaisa, right? A lot of times you hit Kaisa more often because Azir is more contested, but then you just have a Kaisa, and then you can put the Bloodthirster on one of your front line units to try and give them sustain, and then you just build more AP, but it's a little riskier. Something that might work out a lot better though is a strategist board, because this is like you don't hit Fiora at all, but you hit somebody else, like you hit Silco for example in Azir. So then what you're doing is you put mana items on Silco. He usually wants blue buff, but blue buff was nerfed. I'm not sure if Shojin works with him. But whatever, you can put AP items on both of them. Let's say you hit 2-star Silco and you don't hit 2-star Azir, then you put the items on Silco if you happen to hit Silco. You put a Bloodthirster on Nasus. I put them in the same spot as Fiora, so it kind of works. And this is like the full strategist version of the board. You can play a hybrid between these two boards, right, as you're pivoting or what you hit. Right, like a lot of times I don't even play Silco on this board and I just have like an extra Noxus unit, which works really well if you have like a Noxus +1, right? So sometimes I'll just play like 3 Noxus instead of Silco. I'll have Mordekaiser. Another pivot or option that you have on your roll down is something like this. If you hit Noxus, or if you start with Noxus, if you have this is a board more for like a Noxus +1. If you don't have the Noxus +1, you're probably dropping the Azir for like a Cassio, for example. But basically, you can same items that I'm using here, and you can put on Azir and Nasus. But if you look at these items, they're kind of a bit like right? That's why I usually play Ornn with this mindset. Basically, if you're playing Ornn, you can place any of these items with an Ornn item, right? If you get a tank item, you put it on the front. If you get an AD item, it's a Fiora item, right? If you get AP items, it's a Kaisa item. And the same thing works for all of these kind of renditions that I'm trying to show you. These aren't like all the best renditions. There's a lot of other ones that you can pivot towards, but I'm not going to go through everything. I was just trying to find like a visualization where similar items and similar unit placements kind of works out. If we look at the Ornn items, I'll just go over this really fast. Like for example, really good tank item, Blacksmith's Gloves. You can put on pretty much anybody who you 2-star. A lot of times I would just put on Jarvan in these cases, but like you can put on Nasus if you don't have tank items for Nasus. Basically, whoever's missing items, you just give them the Blacksmith's Gloves if you have that. Deathfire, this is the AP. So like on your Azir or whatever, like one of your AP carries or Silco or Ari, you can switch out the Silco for Ari late game. That defines greatest Fiora item ever, instant Fiora cop. If not, you could put on a frontline unit like Nasus or even other ones. You see it a lot of time just to give them sustain. Eternal Winter, you put on a frontline unit. Gold Collector, that's kind of a weird one. It's hard to find somebody to put it on, but you usually put on one of the backline units that does a lot of attacking, like Azir or Kai'Sa. Goldmancer, Azir, Kai'Sa. Hull Crusher, Fiora, or frontline unit. Infinity Force, anybody. Manazine, that's like for more like Silco. But you can put on, it's really good on Kai'Sa as well, because Kai'Sa takes mana or AP items. And then Tank, that doesn't exist. Trickster's Glass, anybody. Usually you put on like one of the extra units. Like I don't think Trickster's Glass that good on Azir. Sniper's Focus, you put on like, that's where you can play Mordekaiser. And that's like an important thing. This is why I don't slam the Titans, right? Imagine if you have a bow, you can make a bow item for Mordekaiser, right? A really good item for Azir is Nashor's Tooth, right? But it's also really good on Mordekaiser if you don't hit the Azir. So that's why I saved the bow, because if you slam like if you slam Titans really early, I usually am reluctant to slam Titans early. That's like my only word of advice. I've gotten into more awkward situations having a Titans lying around than saving the bow and making an item for one of these pivots in case you don't hit on your roll down. And then Zanya's is just amazing on Azir. Even on like the other units, like you put on Ari if you hit an Ari, and you can put it on Kai'Sa as well. So hopefully this was a nice little short video. If you struggle with pivots or seeing some of the lines, this is why I like comps like this that are very flexible that take multiple items, and Ornn also works really well into these because you can put these items on all your different things. It works really well if you have two carries that are opposite, right? Something that doesn't quite work well with is Ionia, because like for example, like, even though Ionia has a lot of units, if you get like a bunch of AP items, you're kind of putting them on Karma, and then it's kind of like you have a Karma 3 out, but it's not that strong unless you have Vanquisher +1. It does, like, you know, stuff like that. It's a bit sus, but hopefully this was like a nice little short glimpse. Tomorrow I'm gonna upload a video where I go over the two versions of this that I played that are previous videos on my channel, and I'm just gonna go over them slightly with a little bit of like explaining Ornn. But I thought this was like a nice short way of introducing the concept, and then the next video will be a little bit of VOD review, and then after that I'll get back to like regular uploads of just me playing. Have fun.